I'm Becky Pensera, coordinator of supplemental instruction and tutoring. And with me today, we have Jennifer Blevins from FEV Tutor. So we are going to take you through a live interactive session here today with the FEV Tutor platform. So before we get started, we'll take a look at our agenda. So I will be providing our welcome today and going over kind of how we landed on FEV Tutor and what FEV Tutor is. Then I'll hand it over to Jennifer, where she is going to walk us through the student experience, so what the students will be seeing, as well as the teacher and administrator dashboard. So abilities that you'll have as a teacher. Any student who is connected to you in eSchool, so anyone who's assigned to your class or classes, if you're middle school or high school, you will be able to see in the FEV Tutor platform. We are going to do a little bit of teacher exploration just in case you want to get in there and, kind of explore a little bit around. There's not going to be much of reporting that you can play with today because the students don't know that this exists yet until tonight when the call goes out at about 5 o'clock. We will then have some time for some questions, and then we'll close it out for today. So why FEV Tutor? We have a very successful HCPS academic tutoring program, which is not going away. We've had a lot of success with that, but what we have seen is that we have a huge wait list of students who are seeking tutoring services that we cannot accommodate. So we can only accommodate a number of students that we have tutors for. So right now we have over 300 students on our HCPS academic tutoring wait list. So, and this has happened every session that we've offered HCPS academic tutoring. So about a year ago, we started exploring how vendors could help us with offering some more supplemental support for our students. So we went through the RFP process, and if you're not familiar with that, that's a process that we use in HCPS where we vet different vendors, and we have criteria that we are expecting from a platform, and the vendors give us presentations, and then there's a committee who votes on the platform that's going to provide us what we're looking for. So we landed on FEV Tutor back in September. And what we did is we ran a 10-week pilot at 3 elementary schools, a middle school, and a high school to make sure that this is really something that we wanted to move forward with for our students. And we did. So the board approved the purchase of FEV Tutor back in December. And then we're having our official rollout today. So that's kind of how we landed on FEV Tutor. So who is FEV Tutor? FEV Tutor, I know Jennifer's going to tell you so much more about who they are, and she could definitely take this slide over for me and do a much better job. But they do employ over 4,000 tutors who are certified in the content area in which they're tutoring. So if somebody logs in for math tutoring, this person has a degree in mathematics. And they are available to our students 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I'm going to take you through some of the options that FEV Tutor offers and the options that we'll be moving forward with starting today. So the first model is the on-demand homework help. So this is exactly what it says, on demand. We have a student who's home struggling through an assignment, through a homework assignment, maybe doesn't have anybody at home, didn't bring their notes home, and just needs that quick jump in. And it could be quick or it could be 30 minutes to an hour. But this is something where they just log into Canvas, get into Clever, find their FEV tile, and they would upload the question that they have. They'd identify the content area, and you'll see that in a little bit. And they'd be connected. It's usually between 30 seconds and 3 to 4 minutes that they would be connected to a live tutor. For this option, they wouldn't, every time they log on, they're not going to log in and get the same tutor, obviously, because it's just, a drop-in option. The second model is our scheduled coursework support. So this is what you would get when you signed up for any tutoring service. It's a weekly scheduled time in a specific content area. So we're going to walk you through a little bit of what that looks like. But again, this is available 24/7. If 3 o'clock on a Sunday works best for that family to work on Algebra 1, then that would be the option for them. This next option, the third and final model of the online tutoring that FEV offers, is high dosage during the school day. I am just giving you a glimpse of this at this time. This is not a model that we will be rolling out as of today. Today, all students will only have the opportunity to participate in on-demand, and that's the self-scheduled, like weekly recurring tutoring. This high dosage is something that we're going to be rolling out slowly to identified schools, but it is exactly what it says. It's high dosage during the school day. So 30 minutes, 3 times a week at least during the school day on identified skills that the students are showing weakness in or struggling in, I should say. So we did pilot this option, but again, we're going to roll this one out slow. So I just want to let you know that it exists, but that probably most or all of you on this call probably won't be involved in this just yet. Any questions before we move on to Jennifer's slides? All right, so not yet, Jennifer, sorry. So first, in order for students to access FEV, everything goes through eSchool, Clever, it's all connected. So the only thing that students will have to do is get into their Clever account, search FEV Tutor, and look for this icon. And once they select the heart, this will show up as their tiles of favorites. So in all of the communication that's going out to students and families, there is a step-by-step walkthrough of how students get into Canvas, then from Canvas, how they would get into Clever. I was notified that there isn't a Clever button anymore to simply go through. Everything has to go through Canvas. So there are directions. I think the easiest way is if you click the question mark, the help question mark, right away Clever pops up and they just click on that and it brings them right into the Clever platform. Sometimes I think you have to sign in again, but that's the path to get to FEV Tutor. Okay, now I'm going to hand it over to Jennifer and she's going to take you through the student dashboard.
All right, thanks so much, and thanks for taking a little bit of time out this afternoon to learn a little bit more about FEV Tutor and what this can look like for the students in Harford County. First, you'll see here on the screen is a screenshot of our student dashboard. We are going to jump into the platform in just a moment and do a live look, take a look at a tutoring session together. We're going to actually do some math here on this call this afternoon, but I do want to just give you a quick look at the dashboard itself. You'll see a few things here on this screen. First, you're obviously going to see, a very similar platform to what you might see for other vendors that you might log into, like iReady or Math Online, any type of educational programs that your students would log into. It's very similar. Some things that I think do kind of stand out in terms of what students have access to when they log into our platform is they have an individualized learning plan. If you look over on the left-hand side of the screen, kind of towards the bottom of that gray box on the side, you'll see a little line item there that says My Learning Plan. And what makes that special and what makes that unique is that we are actually taking your math and reading inventory data information from that diagnostic assessment and building individualized learning plans for students. And so when students click on that learning plan, they're actually looking at specific standards that they need to work on. And that's what we have loaded in for them to work on each time that they log in. Is the ability to jump in and get an on-demand session. And so in the very top upper part of the dashboard, you'll see a teal button that says request an on-demand session. And that's where students can go if they just have a homework, a question about their homework, or maybe they're studying for a test tomorrow and want to make sure that they really understand polynomials. They can jump in and get that on-demand help right away. They can get it starting today. You can go on to the next slide. And as a part of the dashboard, students have access to monitor their own progress And we'll dig in and show you how you as a teacher or an administrator can also monitor student progress. But students have access to every session they've ever completed within our platform. They can actually go back and rewatch sessions that they've done in the past. They also have right at their fingertips information on how well they've done on exit tickets, and you'll see that that little bar graph there is a chart to show them, what their exit ticket score average is. They can see how many sessions they've attended, what their participation points looks like. That's another measurement tool that we use to help keep students engaged in the platform. It also helps us in terms of being able to determine a student's level of engagement with the session through those participation points. And so all of that again is right there in the student dashboard, and they can use that as a way to kind of take ownership in their learning and monitor their progress as they're completing tutoring sessions. And I think there might be one more. Yes. Oh, look, I had a slide on the on-demand support. So when students click on that teal button to get connected to a tutor to receive on-demand support, they are prompted to select a subject area and a course, and then they are actually able to upload a file. So if they have maybe a worksheet that was assigned, and they can just, kind of hold the piece of paper up to the camera and take a picture of that and upload that file if they want to, or if they have it maybe in Canvas, they can take a screenshot and upload that there. Or if it's just a really simple question, you can see this example here. How do I find sine, cosine, and tangent of an angle? That's something that students can do as well. And what we do is we take that information and we use that when we're matching an on-demand available tutor to the student, to make sure that when the student is connected with a tutor, it's someone that is going to be able to help them with this particular problem. For example, if I got connected to the student, I would probably be in a little bit of trouble because I don't think that I've had to find the sine, cosine, or tangent of an angle since I was in the 10th grade. So I would not be helpful for this question, but we have lots of math tutors that would be helpful to help a student in this type of on-demand session. And I think so this is what it looks like to get into a session. Again, we're going to look at a session together. Some things to point out here, and I think I really appreciate the way that Harford County has been very purposeful in the way that they have sent out communication for families to make sure that everyone's really clear on how the tutoring is delivered. So we don't have video. We do have a two-way whiteboard as well as a video chat, and then there is a text-to-speech option for students. And so this is what a session would look like on the right-hand side of the screen. You're going to have your chat, and that's one way that the tutor will communicate translated as well. So if you have any students in your building that might Spanish, then they can do that with a simple click of the button. It translates the entire platform into whatever language they need. And that is one way that students will work with and communicate with the tutors. The main way, though, that students are actually working with our tutor is in the two-way whiteboard. And so that takes up the most part of the screen in this screenshot, where you see the 3 cubed minus 4 plus 15 minus 2 times 3. And you see that the student and the tutor will be working those problems out together on the whiteboard. The tutor can write on the whiteboard, the student can write on the whiteboard. They can also highlight passages in a text. So if it's a situation where the student is completing an ELA session, for example, and there's a passage loaded up into the whiteboard, students can highlight key details, key information, vocabulary that they might not be familiar with. You'll also see, if you look on the left-hand side of the screen, there are a few other options for the whiteboard. So the pencil tool, the highlight tool, students can type on the whiteboard if they need to. They can circle responses and answers. They can also erase. There's also, if you kind of look further down, there's the opportunity for students to share their screen if they need to when they're in a tutoring session. So I know that for some of our students that are either taking online classes like at Swan Creek, for example, it's helpful for them to be able to share their screen because they might be looking at a problem or working on something on their computer that they need help with. And in those situations, students with just a click of a button can share their screen and show their tutor exactly what they're working on.
Jennifer, can you just touch on the last icon on the left-hand side, the headset?
Sure. So that right there is our microphone option. So the third way that students can communicate with a tutor is actually through talking. So if students activate their microphone, they just click on that little headset icon that looks like the one I'm wearing right now. And this allows students to respond back to the tutor without having to type or use the whiteboard itself. So if you're looking at this example right here, the question that the tutor asked is, what is the value of 3 cubed? And so in that instance, then the student could respond with 27. I think that's right. And so that's another way that students can communicate with the tutor is through the microphone.
Awesome. I know you touched on languages. At the top, right in the middle, you'll see the select language dropdown. That's where I believe it's over 40 languages that this can be translated into. And then just some quick buttons across the top of, how other ways that the students can communicate. Like if they're working and the tutor starts to go on, they can just quickly hit, all right, stop or slow down.
All right, and then I will go ahead and show you all of this in action here. Okay, there we go.
All right, you're good.
Okay, so this is what we were just looking at. A couple of things that I do want to show you. Down here is where you can see that learning plan. So this is my learning plan. These are the standards that I've already mastered, crushed them actually, 94%. And then these are the additional standards that I'll be working on in the future. And then this right here is where I can go back and watch lessons that I've already completed. So if you do have students that are working with FEV Tutor and you know that they're doing sessions, and let's say you've got an assessment coming up next Tuesday, you may want to suggest to your student, hey, why don't you make sure that you, as a part of your studying, go back, watch your tutoring sessions, and make sure that you're really clear on all of the standards that are going to be covered on the next assessment. And this right here, this bright red flashing button means that I have a session scheduled. So if students have signed up for a session and this is something that is already set up for them, they've either booked a session online, which is something that they can do. They can also email our team to set up a regular schedule. If something has been scheduled for a student and it's time for them to join their session, they'll see a bright red flashing button. And so I'm going to go ahead and join now. And we won't do too much of the session here. There are a few things that I will point out, and I think I have a slide about a few of these as well, just so that you get an understanding and an idea of how the instruction works when students are working with our tutors. All of our sessions follow the same format. We use a gradual release of responsibility model, and so that's where students are going to do the I do, we do, you do. And so the tutor will demonstrate whatever standard or skill the student has to work on for the day based on their learning plan. And then the student will have the opportunity to then practice that with the help of the tutor. And then there'll be some independent practice time before we close out with an exit ticket. So this is highlighting a little bit more of that whiteboard piece that I told you. Students don't go through this every single time. They actually only go through this on the very first session. Many students have the touch screen, either Chromebook, or even students can use a tablet. And that makes it really nice for them if they've got that touch screen, because then you can really treat this like a whiteboard. Students can write right on it. And so then you'll see these additional features here while we're stopped, I will kind of do the drop down here for the languages. And so students can translate the entire platform into any of these languages as they are working with our tutors. My tutor today is Summer, and as Becky mentioned, we do for our scheduled sessions, we try to make sure that students are working with the same tutor each and every time they log in. That way, they build that relationship. There's that sense of consistency, and it's really nice for students to have someone else that's really kind of cheering them on and is very invested in their progress and understanding in school. And so this is Summer that I'm working with today. And during our session today, we're going to be working with order of operations problems with exponents and parentheses. So this is just another look at what that gradual release of responsibility model looks like in practical terms. And so this is something that students will see every single time that they come into a session with us. We're always going to have a standard that we're working on, and we're always going to follow the same format. So even if Summer isn't available one day when I have a session scheduled, I'm still going to have the same experience, just maybe with a different tutor. So we'll do just a little bit of the session together. Since this is the first time I'm working with Summer, she is going to, ask me some leading questions. She's going to take a little bit more control since we're just getting to know one another. And so you'll see here, she's starting to unpack order of operations for me. But maybe I look at this and I see that she's telling me this abbreviation of PEMDAS, and I'm like, what does that mean? Students can also click on view notes right here to get basically it's sort of like an anchor chart. It helps them give some background knowledge and understanding of the topic for the day. It's already loaded into their session so that when they come in, it's there and ready to go. And it's just a great little reminder for students if maybe they're working on a concept that they have never seen before, or really don't have a solid background knowledge or understanding to be able to solve the problem in this case. So I'm going to let her know that we'll start with the left side first. I could, instead of typing that, I could have also, used my little pencil here and circled it. Students can, change the color of this if they want to, the size of the pencil, and all of that when they're inside of the session. So you can change the color up here and the size. So she's just asking me questions about the problem. I'm going to say that exponent, that we need to do the exponent first. And so we'll work on this together. We'll solve the whole problem. Then it will be the time for me to take ownership of the session. Once we move from that I do to that we do portion of the lesson, I'm going to take the driver's seat. I'm going to write the problem. I'm going to start solving it. I'm going to choose what I do first, and I'm going to have a little bit more hands off from Summer. And so then that will be my opportunity to demonstrate what I've learned so far, where I need some extra help and support. And then at the end of the session, I'm going to get an exit ticket. So I'm going to actually go ahead and ask Summer for the exit ticket. And these exit tickets are typically 3 questions long, 2 to 5 questions. Usually they're 3. And they are connected right back to the standard that I worked on during the session. So I'm never going to be asked questions from something that I did 3 weeks ago. It's always going to be directly related to the standard that I just covered in that session. And this is really great for us as teachers, because what happens is you're going to get reports on how the session went and the feedback on how the student did on the exit ticket. And so this is a great way to have an additional assessment piece for individual standards. And so my teacher would get a report that says that I, got a 72% on my exit ticket for solving, I don't remember what it was, solving problems with exponents and parentheses. And so to me as a teacher, I would see 72% and say, well, it looks like the student needs a little bit more work on this particular standard. And so that would be something that I could address in the classroom. I could also send an email to FEV Tutor and let them know, hey, I'd like for Jennifer to work on exponents one more week. And so that is another way that you can communicate with us and, help give us feedback that's going to help support all students. And then to close out the session, students always get the opportunity to fill out a feedback form. And so these feedback forms provide students with the chance to let us know how they think the session went. And so the first question students are asked on the feedback form is to rate the session itself, 1 to 5 stars, then rate their tutor 1 to 5 stars, and then give us any comments or feedback. Our team will automatically actually review any session that is 3 stars or below, even if there aren't any comments or feedback. We also will take any feedback, and if it's something that's within our ability to change or update, then we do that. So sometimes we might have a student say, "I loved working with Summer L. I want to work with her every time." And so in that case, we put extra pieces in place to make sure that Summer is the tutor that student will work with every time, and we can even reach out to the student ahead of time and say, hey, Summer isn't going to be available this week. Are you okay with working with another tutor, or would you like to schedule a makeup session with her when she's available again? So we want to make sure that students have that voice in the tutoring process, but also that they have the best experience possible. That's something that we use to help encourage students to come back session after session and get as much support and help as they need to make sure that they're meeting those goals in the classroom when they're with you. And so that is a quick look at the student experience. Are there any questions about this before we start to talk about the admin and the teacher role in our platform? We're good? Okay. Becky, I'm going to stop sharing, and then I think we had a couple of slides for
Yeah.
the next part here.
Oh, sorry, it started at the beginning. All right. We already talked a little bit about that one, so we'll just jump right into the insight. So now this is for teaching. Are you doing this one, Jennifer?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, is this the right? Okay, hold on. Just come on over here. Okay. So we talked a little bit about this already, the gradual release of responsibility model. We have this in here mainly just as a reminder so that if you ever have any questions about, what are the tutors doing with my students, that's what you'll see. And then this next slide here, insight into each session. And so this is where you have those recordings. So students have access to their recorded sessions, but you as the teacher and administrator also have access to all of the recorded sessions. And so sometimes, we get feedback from our tutors that, maybe Paul was a little silly in a session. And so you might get an alert that a student was off task and you're thinking, oh, that doesn't sound like Paul. Let me go in and check. You can actually go in, watch the session. You can also just look at the chat script as well. So if you don't want to sit and watch a whole session, you can just open up the chat script and see what was covered during that session. And you have all of that available to you on your dashboard. And speaking of the dashboard, and we're going to jump in and look at this in just a second, but I do want to show you a couple of things here. First, when you're logged in as an administrator or as a teacher, this is a shot of an admin dashboard. So this would be like at the principal level or at the district level. Admins have access to multiple students for either a full campus or for the entire district. And so here you'll see a calendar. They have access to see all of the sessions that are scheduled for either their entire school, or if you're looking at it from a teacher's perspective, you can see them for your entire class. But the big piece that I want to point out here is that you, as an admin or a teacher user, have access to multiple different kinds of reports. The admin reports that can be run are at the student level and at the school level. And so if you are a district administrator, you can run an individual student report, or you can run reports at the district level, meaning that you can run it for all of Harford County, or you can just run it for Bel Air Middle School. And so that is something that's a little bit different about the admin dashboard compared to a teacher dashboard. The teacher dashboard, you're obviously just going to be looking at students that are mapped to you, and this is all done kind of in the background in terms of, whoever is assigned to you in Clever, then you're going to have access to them in our FEV Tutor dashboard. And a few things I want to point out here. It's kind of hard to see, but you will get alerts from time to time. I mentioned, if Paul is off task, that will be an alert that you'll get in your dashboard. And so if you are in a scenario where, maybe your school has decided to do some targeted high dosage tutoring in the classroom during the school day, you can log in while your students are logged in, and you'll get live alerts. So if Paul's over here goofing off and, saying silly things to the tutor, like, what's your favorite color? That's off task behavior, then you would get an alert on your dashboard actually. And so you would be able to go and kind of redirect him. The tutor's obviously going to be redirecting him as well, but you would get that alert, and be able to intervene if you felt like it was necessary. You also, as a teacher, have access to reports, and we're going to look at what that looks like together. And then I just circled a couple of other things that would be something that I would take a look at in the classroom. Attendance, especially if students are doing this on their own, and maybe you want to use this as a way to um, give students the opportunity maybe to earn some extra points or extra credit in your class. You can keep track of student attendance. And so if students that have good attendance, maybe they can earn an extra point on their next math test. Or you can also consider incentivizing based on participation points. So yeah, maybe the student has really great attendance, but they're not earning a lot of points in the sessions because they aren't really engaging and answering questions in the sessions, and really, kind of participating, going back and forth with the tutor, and doing the work to learn the content. So you could consider, instead of incentivizing just attendance, maybe have a participation point leader. We've got some schools that, every student that gets to 500 participation points in a school year gets, a pizza party or something like that. And so I like to highlight that too for teachers, especially because it's just a great way to encourage students and highlight students that are doing a really nice job. And so this is what it looks like to build custom reports in the platform. So on the left-hand side of the screen, I kind of highlighted that part that says reports. And so when you click on that, you have the option to build out reports the way you want to see reports. And so maybe you're looking at this and you pull up the custom report page. And again, we'll look at this together in just a second. And you say, I really want to know how well my seventh grade English language arts class is doing in their session. So you could come in, you could select seventh grade, but maybe you are only interested in the standards that they're mastering. So you can deselect all of these things, and it would give you all of your seventh grade students and just the standards that they've mastered. And if you make that report and you want to, name it grade 7 standards mastery, and then you can determine how frequently you want that report to be sent to you. So you can set it up one time, and then it can come to you on a regular basis. It can come to you daily, weekly, or monthly. And this is a great way if you look at the reports that we send you automatically, which we're going to do that in just a second as well. And you say, this is okay, but I really need this different type of information. Then you can go in and one time set it up and forget it. Like it's just going to come to your inbox on the basis that you request it. And so this is a quick look at what we call push reporting. And so these are the reports that are going to actually come to your inbox. I know Becky said at the top of the call that you can, as a teacher and as an admin, you can be as involved in this process as you'd like. If you are really looking for kind of a hands-off approach, but you still at least want to be aware of what's going on, we will send you reports on a weekly and monthly basis. They'll come right to your inbox, and you can look at them or not. They're going to come to you. They're going to give you lots of information, and you might not ever have a need to log into the FEV platform at all. You might get this report, next week and say, oh, this is great. This is really all I need. It's going to look similar to this. So this is a weekly teacher report. So it's going to tell you how many students are participating, what their exit ticket score average is, how many participation points they earned when they were in with us, the average session rating, the completed sessions, absences. And then there's also going to be 2 links always that are attached to the report. So this is kind of like your high level summary. But then if you click on weekly progress report, it's going to open up a PDF that looks similar to this. And so here you'll see for this particular group report, this has 2 students on it. You can see, I know it's really small, but you can see, the attendance percentage for the week, everything that's here plus some more. And so down here, you're going to see the individual student participation points instead of just an average. And then down here, you're going to see the standards that were covered. And I actually have an example of this. I think that might be the last slide. Is it? Yes. Okay. So I'll show you an example of this too. Let's see. Window. Sorry, I have to talk myself through sharing my screen on Teams. Okay. So this is an example of what the email looks like. And I'm not going to click on this because it's going to have student names on it, but this would take you directly to that report that I was talking about. And then the weekly or the annual report is just going to give you, year-to-date information. And I have, let me see here, I've got an example of this up. I'm actually logged in as Becky. And I just want to show you really quickly what you saw in screenshots so that you can see it in practical application. And if you would like to log in and take a look at this as well, this can kind of be your exploration time. You probably don't have a lot of information in your platform yet, unless you are from one of our pilot schools that has kind of dabbled in FEV Tutor so far. So if you log in, you can log in directly through Clever, or you should have received a welcome email already. And
Jennifer, I'm just
go
going to
ahead.
take a quick poll. If you could just hit the thumbs up button if you received your welcome email.
Good idea.
So it could have gone to your spam or your junk folder. Oh, I see one.
The reports could go to your spam or junk as well. So if we're like on week 3 or 4 of this and you haven't gotten a single report and you know that you have students working in the platform, check there. And if not, I don't know, I didn't put this on a slide or anything, and we probably should have, but our support team is really great. If you have any questions or concerns or want to get a student signed up for sessions and you want to take that on yourself, you can email our team at MD for Maryland at fevtutor.com. So MD at fevtutor.com. And we've got folks that would be happy to help you out with anything that you need at all, especially if obviously you're not getting your weekly and monthly reports, or if you don't get your login information. But you can also get in via Clever too, if you have access to that. I don't know if you have teacher access to that or not.
So, so the welcome email should have gone out yesterday. So we got 2 thumbs up, I think, from the group, and I'm not sure if people just weren't able to check just because we were off yesterday and then, right back into it today. So if you guys want to take a minute to go ahead and look to see if you have those welcome emails, um, why don't we do that now? And then Jennifer, I'm still seeing your Gmail screen.
Oh, uh-oh. Okay, hold on. Oh, well, I don't know. How did I did you ever did it switch over to the other the PowerPoint, or it was just I don't
Oh
know.
no,
I
we
could be
we were
wrong.
in the
Okay, we were
PowerPoint. Yeah,
seeing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
when we got to live demo, I stopped sharing, so then you can go ahead and share your live teacher demo.
Okay. Oh, I did the window instead of the screen.
Yeah. We'll
Mm,
forgive you since you use
sorry.
Zoom.
I'm a Zoomer. Okay. All right. Let's see. So now I'm sharing. Can you see this?
Yes. All
Okay,
right. This is
awesome.
the teacher dashboard. Yep.
Okay, so hopefully some of you were able to find your login credentials and information. Again, if you didn't and you want to get in, just a quick email to md@fevtutor.com. We'll get that sent to you right away. And the big things here, again, the schedule, you want to make sure, ooh, don't want to show any names there, but if you click on one of these days, it's going to give you a list of all of the students that are um, scheduled for that given day. If you go in and you don't see anything, that means that you don't have any students scheduled. And some of the other things, I don't want to click on this because it is going to give us student information, but we talked about this a little bit, the attendance and the participation point leaderboards. I feel like those are really, really key in terms of just staying on top of things. And then you can also actually log in as a student. So you can go here and click on View Student. And if you want to log in as a student and see their learning plan or watch any of their sessions, you can do that there. But then here, this is where you're going to get the better details about the reports. And so if you wanted to, maybe you've got a student that you, maybe they're on a performance goal plan and you have to make sure that they're attending sessions to meet the goals that are outlined on their performance goal sheet or whatever. And so you can actually set up a report that would be that one individual student that could come to you every week. And so this is where you could go to select all of that information. Since I am logged in as Becky, I have access to all of the schools, but if you're in as a teacher, I mean, you're just going to have your school, but then you would have all of your grades and then even your classes if it's broken down that way in Clever. So, if you're looking at maybe you're a seventh grade teacher. I feel like I keep going to seventh grade. And you wanted to find out about your math class, then you could do that. But then you could also, I said, mentioned at the student level, if you've got one specific student that you just need to keep tabs on, you can set that up for that specific student. Type in the student's name, select that, then you select the parameters for the report. I'll tell you that but the larger distance between the start date and the end date, sometimes if you're running a really large report, it might not run live in the platform. It might just email it to you later on. So if I were to sit here right now, logged in as Becky and run a report for all of seventh grade for Harford County from the beginning of August till now, I know we'd have some Swan Creek and some Magnolia Middle School students, and so it might end up being a report that's too large to do just while we're talking. And so in that case, then what will happen is they'll put up a little, actually, I can show you what it would look like. So if I just clicked search here, oh, it says I need to log in again. But I would get a message up at the top that says, this report is very large. We'll email it to you when it's done. But if you wanted to do your own report, you put in all the parameters and then you would save as a custom report. You can give it a name. So again, if it's that one individual student that you want to have, you might have Paul think it was Paul K on that other dashboard. Paul K weekly report. And then you can have it come to you every week. Or if you want it to be a monthly report, you could have it come to you every month. You click save, and that's going to come to your inbox. So, right now, Becky gets reports for every school. They come to her inbox on a regular basis. I don't know. I think we made those monthly, but that's how the reporting piece works. Again, you can also check on any student schedules. Oops. All right. I'm not going to log back in because it takes a little bit of time. But you can do any student schedules, all of that right within your platform. And you can also see the student learning plans, view FEV Tutor from the student perspective, as well as run all of those reports. Any questions about that? How are we doing on time? Do we have time? We've got 10 minutes for questions, right?
We
So
do.
I
We do. I
think
think that
I
was
think
the
we're good.
last of the slides. Let me make sure. Yep. Oh, the user exploration. So we have got 14 minutes left. We can talk a little bit while you guys are maybe exploring. People can jump in and ask questions for the next 10 minutes if you choose. So anybody have any questions? And I don't know if I said this or not in the beginning, but the HCPS academic tutoring program is not going away. We're not replacing the HCPS academic tutoring program with this. This is in addition to. So I don't want anybody to get upset thinking that we were taking that one away. It's absolutely not. We're adding to more opportunities and options for kids.